As we move into the spring game season, if you will, we got a bunch of games these next 2 weekends. This is kind of that time of the year where this narrative starts to bubble up and get some traction. A lot of folks saying that, hey, if you're a Alabama or you're a Georgia, you're one of those big boys, why don't you take that FCS game that you have sometime in November and move it to your spring game? And I see where this is coming from. I understand the thought behind it. Hugh Freeze actually has been one of the faces of this whole movement, saying, well, we could have the game, be able to still, have that FCS game get checked off our schedule, be able to raise a lot of money, give it to a certain cause in the state of Alabama. Like, it'd be a great thing for all parties. And I would say if this is something that you want to have the option to do, more power to you. If this is something that you decide best for your football team and the other football team at the FCS level, I'm not here to stand in the way of that. But I think there's a thought out there that this should be the way that spring games go, because you make it a TV product and you get, another game on the schedule that's not an FCS team during the fall because you move it to the spring. And I'm just here to tell you, I'm not for that. I am not for that. And not only am I not for that, I think that's a bad idea from a football perspective. Because a lot of the talking points are going to be, well, it's great for fans. Why would you not want to see another game? Well, hey, if I'm a TV network, don't I want to have more inventory during the spring instead of playing, baseball or whatever other sport is being played at this point in time? I hear that too. But the thing about this is spring practice, yeah, the spring game is for the fans to a degree, but I think also spring just period is about your football team. It's for evaluating what you have on your roster, trying to figure out your depth chart, trying to have as much learning as possible about the guys on your team. Having a spring game having a spring game against an FCS team, rather, does not keep intact all of your goals. So the first part of this is you don't protect your guys. Like, you hear coaches talk about this when it comes to spring games. I would venture to say if you asked every single coach in America the thing that they want to get done during spring football, they would either say this or think it goes without saying that they want to get out of the spring healthy. We don't want to lose anybody for the fall. We don't want to have anybody have a lingering injury. We want our guys to be as healthy as possible for when those games really matter in the fall. Great. Well, when I play another team at the FCS level, I don't expect the opponent to protect our guys the way that a teammate would expect our guys, or would protect our guys, rather. Like, if I am a safety and I see a receiver coming across the middle, and I have a chance to just absolutely knock his block off. The freshman quarterback threw it late. It is what it is. He hangs the ball up there in the air. There is a certain code of conduct within practice that you do not lay your entire being through that dude's skull like you would if it were another team. If it's another team, blast him, dude. Like, it's football. But when it's your teammate, you just break it up, or maybe you go and just give him a little thud. You don't play the same tempo, or you don't hit at the same tempo that you would against another team as you do your teammates. So that in itself, I think, is reason enough to be like, hey, I don't want to lose my star receiver because your hero DB decided to go and try and make a play in this spring game to try and help himself when it comes to that second portal window. That's the other part of this too. Like, if I'm a big-time school and I play an FCS school and that FCS quarterback balls out or that FCS linebacker balls out, like, I might be having a conversation with him in the following days when that portal does open up, or maybe the portal's already open depending on when you play your spring game. If I'm a FCS school, that doesn't help me. That's not something I want to do. I want to keep my guys as the best kept secret so that they don't hit the portal. I don't want them getting poached by X, Y, and Z school that we're playing against. So that doesn't make sense to me at the FCS level. And here's probably the second most important reason why this doesn't make sense and why, from a football vantage point, this is not going to gain real traction. You cut your reps in half during a scrimmage for the guys that you can evaluate. Like, you hear coaches talk so much about how much 11-on-11 work they got, how much live work they got, how many plays they got. And if I'm going to take a unit of my team off the field for the entirety of a spring game, that's less information I get to get on our football team. And so there's a lot of people that are going to hear that and say, well, yeah, but like, do you really need to eval the walk-ons? What about that, guy from Sig New that's playing corner for you? He's never going to see the field, right? Well, yeah, in a perfect world, they wouldn't see the field. But how many times have you sat down during a fall Saturday afternoon in early November and hear Chris Fowler talk about, hey, they just got bit by the injury bug. I've never seen this before. This guy's a walk-on. He's making his first start tonight. How many times have we heard that situation? Pretty much every single year it happens to some high-profile team. So being able to evaluate your depth and being able to get those guys ready to play, that matters. I understand it's not the most glamorous headline or the thing that gets talked about the most, but I'm just saying, man, when it comes to evaluating your team during the spring, you want as much as possible on tape to take a look at and to have a good assessment of your team going into fall. So I understand if you want to have that option to do it, I'm not standing in the way of having an option. I'm just telling you, this is not going to gain traction, and this is not going to be a thing that the majority of college football coaches are going to sign up for. There's a reason why this has been talked about and never really gained the traction that it's gotten to be a reality. So I understand spring games are fun for us as fans, but from a football perspective, I don't think that's going to be something that ever really happens. The Hard Count is brought to you by our friends over at GameTime. I told you guys a second ago, man, the fall is it's coming up here. All right, we're not that far from week 0. Yes, we honor and respect week 0 around here. So when those weeks arrive and when that game comes, we're going to want to make sure that we're able to be at those events, that we're not just watching from our couch. If you do that for the majority of the season, great, but get to at least one game. Game Time is going to be the fast, easy, efficient way to get that done. When I say efficient, you can buy with like 2 taps of the button when you use the Game Time app. Terms apply. So download the Game Time app, redeem code HARDCOUNT for $20 off. That's HARDCOUNT for $20 off. And know before you buy too, because whenever you buy via the Game Time app, you get to see the view from your seat before you even purchase it. So I'm not sitting behind the Jumbotron. I'm not sitting behind that one pole in the stadium that's supposed to be structural somehow to the integrity of the stadium, but my seat is right behind it. And that's why I got it for like a bag of chips and a couple of Chuck E. Cheese tokens. Game Time protects you from that. Again, redeem code HARDCOUNT, HARDCOUNT for $20 off via the Game Time app. Terms apply. Game Time. Best tickets, lowest prices, guaranteed. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.